And we're on. Hey, woo! Let me retweet. We are live. All right. What is going on in the world today? Yeah, there we go. It's about time, isn't it? Yo! What's up, living dead babe? Are we in trouble? Alright, let's go. Throw some questions. What was the issue? The issue was I had to add an audio source somehow, and that didn't make any sense whatsoever, that it shouldn't just be under options. And it wasn't under options. Go figure. Yeah, nice work. It is. It is. What did I do? I don't know. I actually went to the help menu, and it was new layer window audio. Go figure. So, it's snowing outside. We're expecting about a foot of snow, and I'm going to make some fro angels tomorrow out in the snow. How's that sound? Everything is cool. Yeah, well. Do we have questions? Come on, come on, come on, come on. I want questions, questions. Yeah. Is this the yellow behind you? The yellow what? Oh yeah, that's a that's the infamous yes. 1980s style, probably 78, maybe 80s. I don't know. They were wall coverings. Yellow shirt. No, the yellow shirt's in the other room. I haven't ordered them yet. Who wants a yellow shirt? Do I? The Flickr photo group, I do go in there to look. I just don't comment as often as I should. There are a lot of pictures in there. Banana? No, it's more like gold. It's gold with black printing. I like the yellow too. I like the yellow. Let's see. Kickstarter. Let's see what this Kickstarter is. Come on. That's insane that has gained. This is just, what is this? You'll get a. I don't like that at all. That thing. I think I need to do a Kickstarter. What should I do a Kickstarter for? For the book or what? Wow, that's like the... Yeah. I never said I don't like Canon. But on that Kickstarter thing, that's like not even close to what the Black Rapid would do. It's just like a... This is just a... I can't believe they've raised $63,000. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. Yeah, it's like Black Rapid, but not. Then I wouldn't use it. Well, I don't know. I think I would do it for like the book or some other things, but I don't know. What other, I think the better question would be, why do you prefer Nikon over Canon? Well, there we go. That's better than saying, why do you hate it? Because, you know, let's see. Hold on, give me 1 second. I want to pop this window out. And why? What is some of the stuff? Understand why I do have to buy the Nikon 7200 if switching to a full frame instead of the Sigma. Well, let me answer that first. Why do I recommend getting the Nikon version if you're going to go full frame? Because the Nikon version is better. The Sigma version's cool. It's perfect on the DX because sometimes the Pro bodies just give you better quality when you put better glass on it. I prefer, you know, the Sigma worked very well on my on the D3S. I just feel that it's much better to use the Nikon brand on that one. Just, it's a sharper lens, going to be better in the long run. And when you're getting paid to do this work full frame, you really want to go with the best of the best, and that to me is the best. Let's see. So Nikon versus Canon. My very first film camera was a Canon. And stop interrupting me. People are interrupting me on Skype. Who was just interrupting me on Skype? Anyway, I'm gonna turn off Skype real quick so I don't get interrupted anymore. And then I'm gonna answer that question. Do not disturb. Okay. So, my very first camera was a... my very first camera was a Canon. Well, my first SLR film camera was a Canon EOS Elan. And it was like 3 frames a second. I could shoot. I got some crappy lenses with it because I knew nothing about lenses. Yeah, Allie. You don't have to interrupt. So anyway, so when I went, and yeah, I used to hang out at a camera store. You know how kids hang out at game stores and they hang out at the arcade? I hung out at the local camera store. And when I was at the local camera store, the guys and girls there, they all shot Nikon. And there was really no explanation really why. It's just that when I went to buy my first real deal digital, well, film SLR, I ended up with a Nikon N90S. So to put that into today's standards, I guess an N90S would be like a D7000 range. It wasn't a pro camera, but it could really serve as a pro camera. I forget how many frames a second it did. I put the booster grip on the bottom, and I loved it. I also ended up with an F5 as my last film camera. So let me keep going. I'll answer these questions as they come along, but okay, Elise, you got a shout out, Elise. Thank you. Anyway, with the let's go digital age. Being that I already owned Nikon equipment, I decided to, well, jump into the game with a D2H. And at the time, Canon had the 1V, I believe. Well, not the 1V, the 1D, a 4-megapixel camera, which was a really cool camera. The Canons seem to have been much better than the Nikons after the D2H. The D2H was a 4-megapixel camera. It didn't do as great as Nikon really wanted it. I loved it. I learned how to work with it, but then there was a 4-year period almost where they didn't have anything, and I contemplated switching to Canon because Canon had like the 8-megapixel, the 1D Mark II, and Nikon still only had a D2H, and Canon was just killing it. Canon killed the market. They had great glass. Nikon had okay glass. Nikon's glass is still fine. You know, I'll say this all the time. Nikon has great glass. Canon has great glass. Whichever pro glass you go with, it doesn't matter. You're going to get great stuff out of it. It's still what you do with it. But I didn't make that jump, and I ended up with like a D2X, finally, a 12 megapixel camera that was terrible in low light, right? Anybody ever have that camera? Because that was terrible in low light, great in the studio. But as soon as the D3 got announced, that changed the game. Nikon announces the D3, Canon comes out with the Mark III. The Mark III has all those issues that they say with those focusing, and a lot of people switched over to Nikon. So why, again, do I stick with Nikon? Well, I like how they feel in my hands. I feel that they're ergonomically designed better. It feels great. And then when I played with Alan at Alan's camera let me borrow a Mark IV for a little bit, and when I went vertical, unlike in the, where's my camera? Unlike with the D3S, how you have this dial right here, Canon has that dial like in the worst possible place, which is like up here, so when you're shooting vertically, you can't even reach it. But with the Nikon, I can change my focusing point right here, and it just feels better in my hand. With that said, I also feel that Nikon did a better job with putting cameras out when they're ready. Hey, Elise, that's Allie, that's not nice. Allie, this is all my stock. It's my stock room. Come on. Anyway, so really, I just like the Nikons. I think they work better for me. The menu system, I enjoy the menu system, and other than that, that's the way I'm gonna stay. And sorry, Allie. All right, let me read some of these. Did that help? Anybody? It's hot in here. Oh, man. This is an I Shoot Raw hoodie. Oh, you want to see something cool? Hold on. Check this out. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm coming. So I'm going to show you something cool that came in. This is I Shoot Raw hoodie in red. They're not for sale yet. Anybody like the I Shoot Raw hoodie in red? Anybody? I Shoot Raw hoodie in red? Oh. Hey, look. Sorry, I missed all this stuff. The screen wasn't reloading. Hold on, let me read some of this stuff. Hey, if you want a red I Shoot Raw hoodie, and they're not for sale online, I would suggest, if you are in the US, just shoot me an email to fro@FroKnowsPhoto.com, and if you'd like the red one, let me know. I will do a special sale just for you. I have a couple. I didn't order too many, just as a little play thing. They'll be good for when people are... Hey, why doesn't this keep reloading? That's upsetting me. But anyway, let me read some of this stuff real quickly. What do you not like Canon? I already did that. You don't understand why. No. Why? What are the Nikon strengths and weaknesses of each brand? Second question. Why? I'll switch to full frame. I mean, what is the difference between DX and FX? Okay. Who want you? Difference between DX and FX? Rumors say that Nikon and Canon will break the 25-30 megapixels. Will present lenses be sharp? Present lenses be sharp enough to kind of definition. So what I've been told for that is that no, the current lenses, a lot of the lenses can't handle the higher megapixels right now. They're just too many megapixels. And in my mind, I was happy with, what was I happy with? 12. I'm still happy with 12 in my D3S. I just want them to make, well, there's really not much wrong with the D3S. It's just an amazing camera. It's constantly giving me amazing shots at 8,000 ISO, 10,000 ISO, places where most cameras can't shoot, especially on the Canon end. That's another thing why I shoot Nikon, is Canon cannot match, hands down, shooting at 10,000 ISO like the Nikons shoot, hands down, because it's not a full frame. It's too many megapixels. They had too many megapixels in the 5D Mark II to compensate for shooting in low light situations. What's the most logical upgrade from the D90 for the best high ISO while staying in the DX format? Okay, so as I always talk about progressions, that 5-year plan thing that's still in the works, you know what? I'm still thinking about this Kickstarter thing. That is really insane that Kickstarter thing has raised $63,000 and it's like a ripoff. But not that it's a ripoff. I'm sure it works, but it's not as secure as... I actually have mine right here. The Sport. Anyway, I've been using that nonstop. Logical progression. D90, the next logical step would be a D300S, but the replacement. We don't know when it's coming out. I have no clue when it's coming out. We can all speculate. We can all speculate on when that's happening, but if the D7000 is as good as it is, just imagine how good the D400S is going to be. The quality is going to be amazing. So, hey, I mean, I wouldn't go from a D90 to a D7000. That's, yes, they're saying that the D90 isn't replaced by the D7000. Pretty much the same thing in my mind. So, you know, I would stick it out a little longer and go with a D400S or D400 as a replacement. Most logical upgrade. Rumor says that Nikon and Canon will break the 20. Yeah, we talked about that. I just wish they would stop the megapixel race. Nikon's done a great job with that. Canon keeps expanding. I played with the D3X. Wasn't a big fan of it. The quality is insane. Just the camera seemed to work slow for me. Literally, like I'd press the button and it wouldn't respond too quick. And I wasn't happy with that. I shoot a Canon 40D FF112173. I shoot a Canon 40D with a 17-85 5.6, and the images are never sharp. Is this a lens issue? I tried everything, including shooting from a tripod. Well, what? Tell me more. Why is it? Is it a lens issue? Probably. But there could be. It's a bunch of different settings. If you're on a tripod, your image stabilization 1 should be off, but you shouldn't be getting out of unsharp images. I'd have to know more about that. What camera would you recommend for a Nikon? Nikon for shooting concert photography, but not the D3 line? Well, I mean, right now, it depends on your budget. Let's see, Len, what's your budget? Nikon 8414, focus fast enough for hockey. Well, yeah, I'm sure it's a faster focusing lens. It's not as fast as, say, the 70-200. I prefer using the 70-200 for shooting hockey. The only reasons that you use like an 85-1.4 is to shoot at 1.4, and sports is going to be very difficult to shoot at 1.4 in my mind. How do you deal with lens spots? Every time I take a picture where there are very light backgrounds, especially white and light blue. Well, the gray spots are on your image sensor, and if you're shooting at high apertures, like f8, 11, 22, well, I skipped 16. If you're shooting at high apertures or using flash, a lot of the times in those areas you're going to see the dust that's on the image sensor. So you can use what they call sensor swabs. You can send your cameras back in to get cleaned to the manufacturer. They're basically going to do the same thing with the sensor swab. But yeah, those gray spots are a pain in the ass. And if you've got cameras that let you clean, then just do the sensor cleaning. Then run those a couple times, and that should do get a lot of the issues out of the way. So back to that concert. If it's not on the D3 line, $2,000. Well, the D700 used you could probably pick up for a few bucks more than that, and it would still be good. But I would probably wait until that D700's replaced, or D300S replacement is going to be a good camera for shooting concerts. At least it should be. We'll see what it comes out with. But don't forget, good glass is still going to do really good. Best macro lens, Nikon mount, considering the price. Old 105 macro. Yeah, the 105 macro VR 2.8. That's going to be a pretty killer lens. With macro, you're not going to need really to autofocus because you're gonna oh, this is funny stuff. With the macro lenses, you don't really need to worry about autofocus too much. So that's why the old 105 VR, sorry, non-VR is a steal. If you can find it, great lens. I have problem with this. I had no problem with this lens full frame. Best macro lens. What do you think about the contest pictures? Honestly, I haven't looked in a little bit. I'm still waiting to look. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. I got to go look. I haven't done that. I'd like to see some more creative pictures for the contest. Thanks for your wonderful videos. Thank you. You're welcome, Raven. Before swap, Rocket Air. Yeah, Rocket Air before that. I have that up in my store. How do you recommend to clean the 14 to 24 2.8? It's a good question. I took that lens through the desert in Israel. I don't use any filters or anything like that. I just I keep going. Live on Ustream. Let people know we're live anyway. How do you clean it? I use the lens cloth. Really, I breathe on it, use a lens cloth, use the Rocket Air, make sure that all the dust and particles are off of it, and literally just breathe on it and clean it like I would clean any other lens. Just purchased Lightroom 3 for the Mac. Got to go back and watch all those Lightroom videos that you and Greg have done. By the way, good work on the video. Thank you. Let's see if Greg will come on. I don't know. We'll see where he is. I don't know where he's at. Are there any older cameras that you would still recommend? Geez, when you get into digital, I wouldn't really. Let's see. When it gets to digital, once the camera, like the D3000, if somebody came to me and said, Jared, should I get the D3000 or should I get the D3100? At this point, you spend the money and you get the D3100 if it's your first starter camera. The 3000 is just very limiting unless you're shooting in bright daylight all the time. You know, for me, I spend my time shooting in the lowest light possible, and it's just yeah, this 3100, which I have right here, is really fun. I shot that hockey game with it at 3200. Tomorrow's photo of the week is a photo shot at 3200, and it's handling very well. And to me, when it comes to testing gear, I want to test it at the most extreme, because if it works at the most extreme, I don't need to worry about if it's going to work at 100 ISO. So you know how I am with testing gear out. Which lens is best for taking pictures of, is that nudes or noobs? That says nudes, but nudes is N-U-D-E-S. Are you going to buy a D7000? I hate my D3000. It's terrible for concerts. Yeah, it's terrible for concerts, but, you know, you can make it work. We saw Gizzy make it work a little bit, but in low light, it's going to be difficult. Am I purchasing a D7000? No, I'm going to borrow a D7000. If I can get out of the house tomorrow, I'm going to go to Allen's and I'm going to make a guide for the D7000, just like I did that quick guide for the D3100. I expect to do a heck of a lot more of those coming up in more detail, more closer, you know, close-up videos and things like that. And I'll keep going from there. What's the highest ISO on the D90 you think is acceptable? Well, I've never owned a D90 or really shot with it. 3200. Honestly, I wouldn't. If the D3000 was terrible at 1600, I think the D90 is going to be much better at 3200. But I really haven't seen it. How do you get into the whole gear testing gig? Well, I do what I do. That's the best thing. I have the site and bring a lot of information out, and Nikon recognizes that, and Canon and Sigma and Allen's, they all recognize it. So they, you know, they say, here, let's review some gear and let's see what we come up with. Have you ever used a tilt shift lens? I have not used a tilt shift lens. And there's a bunch out there for Nikon and Canon, and I think that it would be fun to try it. If anybody has ever shot 4x5 or large format like that, it gives you the ability to, like, this is what tilt shift is doing. So when you shoot a picture, your lens is straight, right? So everything is hitting straight onto the film. The film is hitting straight to your image sensor. But when you move your lens, say forward or back like this in the tilt shift, stuff hits the image sensor a little different. So light gets there at a different time, which means you get some different effects with focus and things like that. So you can really draw people into a line of focus. Say if you were shooting the keyboard, you could literally shoot the one whole row of the keys, and then everything else in the front and back would be out of focus. It's just a whole different line of things. I haven't really played with too many. Yes, the D3000 is limiting in low light. Did you say Alan's tomorrow? Yeah. Bill! Hey, Bill, is that you? Bill, W.J. Rogers. Everybody say congratulations to Bill for shooting Raw. Bill shot Raw about a couple months ago, and there's going to be a new little photographer on the way soon. Boom. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Yes, you do. I hope the wife isn't in the room and getting upset. Yeah, I may go to Alan's tomorrow. We'll see what the snow looks like. I really want to get on that D7000 guide thing, and we'll do good. Let's see. I switched to RAW 2 months ago. Good. Yeah, Digital Rev. Anybody watch Digital Rev? Anybody like that guy? Or is it too boring? Yeah, I mean, I've never watched the Digital Rev. They actually just emailed me last week about something, and I didn't take them up on that. Digital Rev. I know they're pretty big. They get a ton of views. I'd like to get as many views as they do. But hey, it happens. What other questions do we have here? You are welcome, what's that say? Agpito. Yeah, I won't even read that. If I were wear my Raw shirt to the Sinai show, will Walt let me backstage? Well, when? Tomorrow to the Sinai show? Well, maybe. Just let Walt know you shoot Raw. For this D3000 and shooting shows, I don't think the answer, I've gotten this question before, I don't think the answer is getting a flash. Shooting shows with flash isn't really good. Every shot, unless you really get inventive with using your flash off camera and, you know, playing around with it, you're not going to get great shots, or it's not going to be unique. So that's the thing with the D3000 and getting a flash is most concerts you can't shoot flash. You're not supposed to shoot flash. Scott Kelby and his info, he's very popular. He's written a lot of Lightroom books. That's all I really know. Oh, if they ever play in Ohio, yeah, sure. Wear your I Shoot Raw shirt out to the Sinai shows. Would you buy the Canon 8512 if it was available for Nikon? Probably. That's a pretty insane lens that Canon has over there. It's a hunk of glass. Ellen, Ellen, where's your question? Let me see. Ellen's yelling at me. I don't see you, Ellen. I don't know what your name is on here. Whatever. Anyway, where was I? 8512. Yeah, if Nikon offered that, I would definitely love to play with that lens. That's a killer lens for video. That would be amazing for video. Yeah. My opinion, what's the next big thing frontier the DSLR technology will go forward in the next few years? Well, they're going to keep expanding video. Video is going to keep expanding. In terms of shooting, low light capability is going to keep getting better. You're going to maybe start seeing the in-camera HDR stuff, but on the lower end, you know, I'm not a big fan of doing anything on the lower end, or sorry, doing any corrections in camera. And you know I'm not a big fan of the whole HDR movement, but that's just me. So I mean, really just better low light capability, more dynamic range. I mean, that's getting into the HDR thing, but just a better, you know, more color, better clarity, and that's where it's going to go. The bodies are getting really good. Everything, like the D7000 is awesome. Video for electronic zoom. Patent for video electronic zoom. Wish they'd focus on stills more. Well, I mean, what those old Minoltas had, these twist turning things where the lenses would zoom mechanically. I don't want to zoom my lens mechanically. I have a touch and feel. I like the touch and feel of the lens, so you can make it zoom where you want it. Nikon should stay focused on doing better stills. Their videos are getting there. But yeah, I think Canon's behind on the stills. Can I say that? I'm sorry, Canon lovers. I still think they're behind. They're ahead on video, but Nikon does a great job on video. Well, they're starting to do a better job on video. All right, let me read some of these. Right, there goes the stage lights. Yeah, if you're using a flash, it's going to go. Nikon just made... What do you think about Cliff Mountner? He says the 8514 is... Well, I spoke to Cliff on the phone for about an hour, about 3 weeks ago. We were talking about that lens, and he's the one who said that, you know, if you're using an 85... If you're using a 1.4 lens, you're really using it to shoot at 1.4 only. And he's right. That lens is amazing at 1.4 because you're going for the feel of what those lenses give you, like the 24-1.4, which I played with. I've got a 24-120 sitting over there that I haven't unboxed yet. Nikon sent that with a 28-300, but I'm not a huge fan of those. But no, Cliff was an awesome guy to talk to, just full of information and just really down to earth. So definitely, if you guys haven't seen him, check out his work. One of the best, top 10 wedding photographers in the world. Really amazing Nikon shooter. Why do you get noise? Why do I get too much noise when shooting at night with a Nikon D7000 with a Nikon 51.8 and ISO? Well, you're going to get, you know, if your exposures are wrong, anytime your exposures are off, you start to introduce more noise when you try to bring back the raw file. That's why getting it close to right, you know, you're better off bumping your ISO to get a fast enough shutter speed in certain situations. Greg says this all the time, that you don't want to be off. If you're off and you try to bring it back like 3 stops, you're going to introduce a lot of noise. Yeah, 5-year plan book. I'm hammering through. You know, it's a lot of changes. I'm working on right now a beginner's book. You know, if you're new to photography, or it's been a couple years that you've been in it, but you've never gotten out of auto, it's really a book for understanding how to get out of auto, starting to learn your manual settings, why you do what you do, and it's going to be full of, you know, real world, let's go and shoot type things. It's not going to be sit here and get all technical on your ass, because, you know, if you get over technical, I'm going to lose you. It's all about let's go and shoot. You know, here are the steps, now go and try it, because that's going to be the best. How's that sound for a beginner book? What do you do when you get in a rut and feel like there's nothing to shoot? I haven't been in a rut, luckily, in a long time, which is good, but I just got back to basics. I got back to just going out and enjoying shooting. Shooting what, you know, just... If it becomes a job, then it's not fun anymore. I mean, it's a great job to have, but depending on what you're shooting, get back to what made you happy. Look at those photos and find that passion again, and just start shooting. You know, get out on your own, because I find when I go and I shoot on my own, and I can be in my own world, and I can just be left alone, that's when I, you know, really get into shooting again. Did I test a 10.5? I didn't need to test it. I owned it. Thomas, I owned the 10.5, and I made a trade. I traded my 10.5 when I went full frame to my buddy Richie, who had a 16 fisheye. So we made an even trade, which he's now upset about because he's full frame, and doesn't have a fisheye. But I will say that the 10-point fisheye, 10.5 fisheye is great. It's not AFS though, so it's not going to autofocus on the lower end cameras. But that lens was so much better than the 16. I really hate the 16 fisheye. The 16 fisheye is old for the Nikon, and it is not sharp. It just not that it's not sharp. It's just the edges suck, and I'm just not happy. I don't even pull that lens out of the bag that often because I don't like the quality of it anymore. When will the book be available? I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. It's going when it's ready, I'll get it out, but I want to get it right, and I want to do a great job for you guys on this very first book. But we are working, Greg and I, on a bunch of different projects and a bunch of different books to bring to you guys, including lighting, and I know everybody wants lighting, so we're going to definitely be working on the lighting books. But first book is going to be this beginner's book, along with this 5-year plan and a few other things, just to really give you guys a feel of where we're going with it. So hopefully in the next couple months. What do you think of Canon's marketing department? Is that why there are too many Canon shooters? Well, Canon for a long time, you know, they gave away a lot of equipment to pros to get them to use it. But, I mean, they couldn't pay me to shoot the Canon. They couldn't. If they came to me and said, Jared, here's 50 grand, buy all your Canon gear and use it. If they gave me the 50 grand and told me to buy the gear, I'd buy it. I'd buy it so I could review review more Canon stuff, but I personally wouldn't end up using it for anything probably other than video. I really love the quality of what the Nikons give me. About the ISO at the Canon. I had my camera here and took a shot of my cat at 12,000 with my 7D. I know the D3S is killer, but to me this is good for a camera at that price. Well, listen, if you're going to shoot it in bright daylight, I'm not saying you were shooting in bright daylight, but when it comes to shooting any camera, even my D2H back in the day, if I was shooting at 1,000 ISO, which it used to be terrible grain there, if I shot there and was in bright daylight, everything looks fine. The more light you have, the better your images are going to be, even at higher ISOs. I can't see 12,800 being really amazing with the 7D, just for the size of the sensor and how many, what's it, 18 megapixels? So more megapixels, smaller sensor. Nikon's bigger sensor, less megapixels means bigger pixels, going to give you better images. I'm still thinking about that stinking that Kickstarter thing. So we're going to go for a couple more minutes here, and then I got to go do some work. Use D3 or new D7000 MB10 grip. If they're the same price, I'd go with the D3, personally. The D3 is amazing. No, I've never shot in Iowa. Nikon till death, thank you. Which is the best lens in your opinion, the 12-24 f4 or the... I've never shot with either of them. I've always heard good things about the 12-24 f4 for landscape shooters, but that 11-16 is misleading. It's a cool camera. It's a cool lens. It's a great range. But if you're on a D3000, D3100, at least this is on the Nikon end, it's not going to autofocus. On the Canon end, everything autofocuses on the Canon because they don't have focusing motors in their cameras anyway. That's all done digitally. I have not done time-lapse personally. I guess I'm too ADD for time-lapse. So, it's just me. What else do we got before we finish up? We'll go for another couple minutes. Jared, which is the best lens in your opinion for the D7000? It depends what you're shooting. I mean, the 11-16, it's a 2.8, so it's really wide. I'm assuming that's a pretty killer lens. I tried to get that from Tokina, just they don't have a lot in stock, so they can't really give me any to look. So that's what I got. Did anybody like that red I Shoot Raw hoodie? Did anybody email me about that? Let me look. No. Yep. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. Any other last-minute questions? And the Pats clinched the division. I'm getting tired. All right, you're welcome. You love the red one or the black one. For free would be nice. Sure. They're expensive. They're really good quality if anybody has them. I just really stepped up the quality in that thing. All right. How much for the hoodie? They're in the store. I think they're under, well, depending on the size, $40, $38.99 I think for the small, medium, large, extra large, and then larger than that they go to $41.99 plus shipping. So who's gonna want that talking bobblehead? Sounds good, Len. Have the pre-orders shipped? The only pre-orders that the hoodies did, yes, they're actually sitting at UPS right now. They got dropped off on Friday. So all the pre-order hoodies came in on Thursday, got boxed Thursday night, and got over to UPS on Friday when they said that they're not shipping Friday, but they're there. They're at the they're at UPS, so they will be shipped out across the U.S. come tomorrow, as long as the UPS guys can get to the store, because we're getting buried by snow. And that is about it, right? So thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be coming back for more, I'm sure. I'll just, from time to time, jump on here and say hello. Cool? Any last words? Anything? Any question? I don't want to see questions. You're giving a camera talk? Sweet. Thanks, guys. I'll be on Facebook. You can always email me. And try to get to as many questions as possible. All right. Catch y'all later. Thank you. Oh, wait. Yeah, you want me to... So, yeah, what am I... Jared Polin. FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.